I want to explain why Jeter was fired and why I knew from the minute he was hired he was going to be fired. My issue with Derek from the beginning is the manner in which he went about things, and the manner in which he treated the employees at the Marlins, and the manner in which he treated people around him and under him, in the way that he thought that everything he touched would turn to gold no matter what without putting in the proper work, the way he felt that no matter what he said or did there would be no consequences. Well, guess what? Today there were consequences, and you are done as CEO.
Hey guys, and welcome back to Anzo. In today's video, we're going to be talking about whether Derek Jeter is the worst baseball executive in recent history. Let's get into it. Back in 2017, he joined Bruce Sherman's group of investors to buy the Miami Marlins for $1.2 billion. They bought it from Jeffrey Loria and team president David Samson. A part of the agreement with Derek Jeter joining in with the Miami Marlins was that Derek was going to get 4% of the team and a $5 million salary each year for 5 years. But recently, he stepped down as the CEO. In a recent statement, he said that he didn't like the direction that the Miami Marlins were going, that it was different from where he envisioned it going when he first hopped on. From Jeter's point of view, he wanted the Miami Marlins to compete. After years of rebuilding the organization from scratch, it seems like what Jeter is saying is that the Miami Marlins, after the lockout, were not going to be willing to put in $10 to $15 million into the payroll. When Jeter hopped on, he made a lot of decisions that made Marlins fans kind of angry. They traded away Giancarlo Stanton to the Yankees for basically nothing, and basically a bunch of other players. Now Derek Jeter is a free agent when it comes to being an executive. My idea with this video was to create something where I would talk about whether Derek Jeter could go to the Yankees. But as I started doing research into this, it actually started to become bigger and bigger of a situation of Derek Jeter actually just really sucked as an executive. And don't get me wrong, I love Derek Jeter as the player, but as an executive, it's a totally different ballgame. And I don't know if I really like Derek Jeter as an executive after all of the stories and things I've heard that you're going to hear in this video. I had to narrow it down to get the best clips to tell this story. So make sure to watch all the way to the end so you watch each and every single clip, and then you can give me your opinion in the comments below. So before we get started, you need to know some background information. The main guy in this video that you're going to be seeing, his name is David Samson. He runs a really cool podcast that I personally watched for the last few years called Nothing Personal. Look in the description down below, you'll find a link towards that. But basically, David Samson worked for the Miami Marlins from 2002 till 2017, until Derek Jeter fired him. David is a really interesting character, a very funny guy. Not only that, but he's a lawyer, and he's been around baseball for the longest time. So it's really interesting to see his perspective and hear about the backstories of baseball that we don't hear every single day. And he has sources and firsthand experience with dealing with Derek Jeter. So let's get into how it all started.
And Bruce said, Derek, I want you to run the team. I love you. My kids love you. My grandkids love you. You want to run a team, and we want to give you that right. We will partner with you. And Derek said, here's the rules. If I do this, I want to be the general partner. I want to be in complete control, and I want to put no money in. Are we clear? Major League Baseball made it clear to me that Derek Jeter did not have 23 votes to become general partner, so I had to tell Derek Jeter he would not be the general partner. He'd be the CEO, but Bruce Sherman would be the general partner. Derek Jeter then negotiated an employment contract with Bruce Sherman that was a 5-year deal for $5 million a year. Bruce Sherman put $25 million into the team as part of the purchase and was getting back all $25 million over 5 years. In addition, he would have 4% of the team.
Jeter hated the past management and ownership, and he wanted to get rid of everyone. And he was telling everyone, especially the fans, just be patient because we are going to rebuild.
Derek Jeter and his minions put together projections that once Samson was gone, their revenue was going to skyrocket. And when the revenue would skyrocket, their payroll would go up and their profitability would go up. Derek Jeter had a plan, which was to tell everyone in the community that patience was required because they had to turn around a failing franchise, raise expectations for future results, because currently it's such a mess because Samson and Loria were the single worst of all time. Put them on the list.
Now let's look into the first year of Derek Jeter's ownership.
So the first year, trade away Stanton, Yelich, Realmuto. The projections were for an increase in future years. So year one, Jeter spends the time turning it around, getting rid of everyone who I had as part of my organization, getting rid of every part of the ballpark. Remember all the millions of dollars he spent moving the home run sculpture out of center field? Millions of dollars. The millions of dollars he spent in the Dominican Republic. The millions of dollars that he spent redoing the club behind the plate. All of that was meant to erase what we had done with Marlins Park, erase what we had done, took away community initiatives, started over, clean slate. I'm in, it's his team. He gave interviews saying, you have to have patience. I don't have patience, but have patience.
In year two, Derek Jeter starts to build up the minor league system.
Year two starts. Same thing. We're improving our minor league system. That's required. You have to start winning at the bottom and have players grow and then become major leaguers and put them together. We've got great young players selling the dream. Except no new season ticket holders. Redo the club behind the plate, no new season ticket holders. Take away the sculpture and add seats in the outfield, no new groups or season ticket holders. Revenue that was projected to increase did not.
In year three, the Marlins actually make it to the playoffs. And Jeter, at this moment, he starts to realize that they are ready to win.
Go to year three. 2020, you've got a COVID-shortened season. The Marlins make the playoffs at 31-29. They win the first round series, the wild card series against the Cubs. Derek Jeter says, now's the time. I need everyone in this community to rally around our team because we are a winning team with the young players we have. We can do this. Meanwhile, what you don't know what was going on behind the scenes is Derek Jeter was running the Marlins with an iron fist. Whatever the opposite of an open door policy is how he ran the team. He had one woman who was his consigliere, and he had Gary Denbo, and that was all he would involve. Every decision that was made off and on the field was made by Derek Jeter. Every trade, everything. Mike Hill tried as hard as he could to give Derek advice, tried as hard as he could to help Derek understand what was required to run a team, but Derek knew everything about how to do it, so he thought.
Now, years in, things aren't looking good for Derek Jeter.
2021 happens. The Marlins lose 95 games. Attendance is still bottom of the barrel, and they can't get a new TV deal. And then they finally did, and the new TV deal is lower than what we handed him on a silver platter in 2017. All of the revenue projections in Project Wolverine had not been hit. The Marlins lost money every year, 18, 19, 20, and 21. I'm not talking about $1 million. I'm talking about tens of millions of dollars that was not projected to be lost. When a team loses money and they're already at their debt capacity, which they were because they had taken on so much debt in acquisition debt because they paid so much for the team, but he forgot to take into account the possibility that his plan wouldn't work because he's Derek Jeter. Of course his plan's going to work. Of course he's going to raise more revenue and have a higher payroll and win games and make the playoffs and build a sustained winner and all the things he said that were going to happen.
And Jeter, he acted as if he owned the whole team, when in reality, he only owned 4%. And he didn't allow the owner to actually run anything.
He wouldn't allow Bruce Sherman any say in anything. Bruce Sherman had no idea what was going on because he had given Derek Jeter the keys, and Derek Jeter made it clear that I'm not working with you as an owner. I'm not just the front-facing man. I'm the back-facing man. You want to know what's going on with your employees? You ask me. Bruce Sherman wants information about his team. It's got to go through Derek. Bruce Sherman's the owner. But Derek Jeter wouldn't allow any of that to happen, and Bruce Sherman started saying, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. Not only am I putting money into this team that I didn't expect to put in, not only are we not winning on the field, but I also am completely being put in the corner. Bruce Sherman said, no more, baby. I will not be put in this corner. So Bruce Sherman said, that's enough, Derek. We've got to find another way. We need different people running our organization. We need someone who can really run the business. We need someone who can really run the baseball side. So how do you want to do it? And Derek said, I'll tell you how I'm doing it. I'm going to make it very clear that the reason I'm leaving is that you don't want to win. And I will not allow Jeter to have that be the narrative, because right now there are scores of players, including my friend Miguel Rojas, who are tweeting about the respect they have for Derek, tweeting about the fact that they have great respect for him walking away from the Marlins because their owners don't want to win.
So supposedly Jeter wanted the Marlins to spend anywhere between $10 to $15 million on the 2022 roster. But because of the lockout, that evaporated.
Derek is floating things to the media that there was a disagreement over payroll. You're damn right there's a disagreement over payroll, because the payroll can't be what you projected it to be because the revenue isn't there and you're not funding the losses. But yet, Derek took the time to make sure it was very clear that the vision for the future of the franchise is different than the one I signed up to lead. Wrong. The vision is exactly the same as the one you signed up to lead. The execution of your vision didn't happen. That's a big difference, Derek, when you're putting together a statement. But then he showed his hand in his statement in a way that nobody picked up on, but you're going to. He said, now's the right time for me to step aside as the new season begins. That's the biggest bunch of horse hockey I've ever heard. Do you know what the worst time for a team president to leave or a team GM? It's at the beginning of a season. It's really unbelievable. But he's Derek Jeter. One gift basket and you believe everything he says.
The owner basically wanted Jeter out.
Bruce Sherman released a statement that was very telling. It was not a love affair with Derek Jeter. It gave no indication that it was Derek Jeter walking away or that it was a mutual parting of ways, which is a funny thing that we all say. Make no mistake about it, Bruce Sherman wanted to get rid of Derek Jeter and got rid of him. And Derek Jeter was never going to be allowed to stay by either Bruce Sherman or Bruce's other investors because he did not perform as CEO of the team. It's that simple. What about his ownership stake? Saying that Derek Jeter gave up his 4% ownership stake. And then someone said that Derek Jeter's ownership stake of 4% is now worth $45 million. If you think Bruce Sherman is giving Derek Jeter $45 million for 4% of the Marlins right now, NGTH, not going to happen. All of the money that had to be put in to cover the losses come in the form of capital calls. If you don't put in money as part of that capital call, your ownership percentages get diluted. Now, even if you have a non-dilution provision, which means that you don't get diluted if you don't respond to the capital calls, there is no way that Derek Jeter is going to get all of that money for his 4% of the team. They can't get somebody to pay Derek Jeter $45 million for his 4% of the team.
And like I said, Derek Jeter ran the Marlins as if he was the majority owner. And with little risk for him besides his reputation, Derek Jeter accepted a deal where he would put $25 million, but he would get back that $25 million by the end of his contract, with each year him getting paid $5 million. And Derek Jeter just seems to despise David Samson because of the negotiations and everything that went down during the purchase of the team. Here in this clip, David actually talks about how he was able to sell the team for an extra $500 million.
Derek Jeter overpaid in 2017 by about $500 million when he bought the Marlins. Now, he used other people's money.
Right.
He'll let you know that he owns 4%, and he'll let you know that he put in $25 million. What he won't let you know is that he signed an employment contract which paid him back the $25 million over 5 years. So it's really Bruce Sherman's money and a laundry list of other people. But he was so angry that the team overpaid, that his group of owners overpaid, and the reason he overpaid is he didn't want A-Rod to get the team, even though A-Rod never was going to get the team. But I told Jeter that A-Rod was going to get the team, and they hate each other so much that the way we got the price up is we kept saying, hey, A-Rod, Derek's about to get the team. Hey, Derek, A-Rod's about to get the team. Bid more, bid more, bid more. Jeter came in angry, and he got rid of everything that I touched. Every community initiative that I was a part of got eliminated. Every part of the design of the building, and people mistakenly think that I'm bitter, and they don't get it. I'm not bitter in the least. It's his team. I very well recognize that as president of a team for 18 years, you're merely holding a community asset and you're passing it on to the next one, because after Derek, there'll be another one and then another one, but the team stays the same because we got a ballpark built. And I'm not upset if he changes the design, the colors, the logo, the players, the staff. None of it bothers me.
At the end of the day, Derek focused way too much on trying to erase the old management, the old ownership, instead of focusing on trying to win right now.
The reason I talk about Derek on Nothing Personal, my show, is that he does things for the wrong reason. He wants so badly to get rid of anything that I touched, any picture of me in the ballpark, gone, that he will be laser focused on that. And you know what? Fans don't give a shit about that. They want to win games. They don't want to hear that the old owners stink. They don't want to hear the farm system stinks. They don't want to hear what a bad condition the team was in when I bought the team. They want to see wins.
And this story actually rubbed me the wrong way. keep in mind, I'm a huge Derek Jeter fan, as you can tell by this thing that's in every single one of my videos. But this really kind of showed you how ego plays a game for Derek Jeter.
And the text alert said that David Samson has been fired as president of the Marlins. So I get that. I look at it. I do a screenshot because it made me laugh. I knew I wasn't going to work with Jeter. You know what he did during the entire sales process? He called me to his house in Tampa. He brought me to his private club in New York. And I want to work with you, David. If we get this team and if we get a deal done, you're so important to this organization. You've got institutional knowledge. And I knew he was full of it, but I played along. I said, oh, Derek, I really want to work with you so much. We can do so many great things. I could care less. I knew I wasn't going to keep the job. So I called him up and I said, hey, Derek, I just got a text. He said, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're going to move ahead without you. I said, Derek, let me just give you a few helpful hints here. When you're firing someone, you don't leak it to the media before you tell the person. Trust me, I've done that. It's not a nice thing to do. Secondly, don't apologize to the person. Say, hey, David, we're moving on. Leave your key card on the desk. Bye-bye. And I'd say, thank you for your time, Mr. Jeter. And I'd move on. But Derek had no experience firing anyone before because he's a baseball player. So I got a call from Bruce Sherman afterwards who said, hey, thanks for helping out, Derek. Sorry that was a little uncomfortable. I said, no problem. Good luck. See you later. And that was it.
In my opinion, Derek Jeter was never fit to be a CEO of a Major League Baseball team. It's one thing being a player, and it's another thing being an executive. At the end of the day, Jeter couldn't handle that pressure that it was being the CEO of the Marlins. I felt like ego came along and actually played a huge factor for him. Whether it was trying to beat A-Rod in the negotiations, ending up paying $500 million more. Well, not him, but the investing team having to cough up $500 million just because he wanted to beat A-Rod. And also the fact that he would go after David Samson. The way that Jeter handled everything going forward was more with ego.
Scare people at the Marlins from being friends with me. Tell them that they're uncomfortable having them be friends with me. Accusing them of leaking stuff to me. Derek, if you're listening, pay close attention. And I know that your PR bobos are listening because they follow every word I say. They're obsessed with it. Not one member of the organization who you kept, which were very few, gave me one thing. You know who talks to me? People in the community who you think like you, but are still loyal to me. People in the media who you think are loyal to you, who are still loyal to me. That's who gives me my information. I'm not a Hall of Fame player. Jeter's a Hall of Fame player. He's one of the top 10 shortstops of all time. Great championship caliber player who loved to win. And I give him all the credit in the world as a player, but that doesn't make you a good executive. It just doesn't. Now, could he get better? He's been there 4 years already. Notice now, he no longer says, hey, we had a lot to clean up from that ownership group, because people are saying to him, dude, it's been 4 years. Like, what are you talking about? You can't keep talking about the old regime anymore.
Now there's talks that Jeter could possibly get an offer from ESPN to be an announcer. I don't see that happening. Anything to have to do with A-Rod or what A-Rod is doing, I don't think Derek Jeter wants to be involved. My prediction is that another team will scoop him up. Which team? Could it be the Mets? The Mets could always use more front office people. Could Jeter find a position there and start running things? Could be. Maybe it's another rebuild team, a team that could use someone with Derek Jeter's winning experience and maybe some nice press. That could work too. Maybe work for the MLB, give them some tips on how to make baseball more popular, since Derek Jeter is one of the most popular names ever in the game of baseball and also in sports. Or could he land with the Yankees in some shape or form? But you also have to think that Derek Jeter has had some beef with Brian Cashman, and Brian Cashman will most likely be the person in charge of hiring someone like a Derek Jeter to come on board. But after doing all of this research, and as you guys saw all of the clips, you can see that Derek Jeter has some ego, and I don't know if Derek Jeter would take a lower position in the Yankees organization after being a CEO. I think he's going to look for an organization where he can be the CEO or more. Derek Jeter wants to have full credit for having a team win, tearing it down, building it back up, hiring the people he wants, so he can have full credit that it was him and no one else. And I don't think the Yankees would allow that. Brian Cashman won't want that. So the likelihood of him going to the Yankees to work in some type of way in the front office, I feel like are very, very low.
The bottom line is we're trying to fix something that's been broken. I didn't get into this to have an exit strategy. I'm here to do it.
In Miami.
Yes, in Miami.
You still a Yankee fan?
I am, yeah, just not if we're playing them, right? I mean, this is an organization where I owe everything to, and I have a great relationship with the Steinbrenner family. I will continue to do so, but it'll be strange when we play the Yankees because there hasn't been a day in my life that I've rooted against them.
I think at the end of the day, Derek Jeter and his downfall as an executive had to do with his ego along the way, but everyone has ego. And so it's not something that we can bash him so hard on. But he made a lot of mistakes along the way that kind of shows his character a bit. He could have done things a little bit more differently, whether it was maybe keeping Giancarlo Stanton, making some other moves, and keeping the fan base engaged with the superstars that they already had. The Miami Marlins are stacked up when it comes to pitching, and in the next few years, if they play it right, they could be a great team. But there's questions also if Miami is even a good city for baseball, with low attendance and not a lot of revenue producing, and that team being sold every few years and not winning as many championships. There's also that question whether Miami is even a good place for baseball. In all of our eyes, Derek Jeter will always be the top shortstop ever in baseball history. As a player, he always said the right things at the right time, and he always got your attention with the plays that he would make that were super clutch. Now, do I think this is the end of him being an executive? No, not at all. I feel like he will make a comeback, and he did make a bunch of rookie mistakes. He can learn from those mistakes. For me, I think he'll take some time off and then figure out what he wants to do next. But time will only tell if Derek Jeter will learn from his mistakes with the Miami Marlins and work with a team to actually make them from the ground up a World Series champion. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the like button like Giancarlo Stanton did with that grand slam against the Red Sox. And make sure to use code Anzo, A-N-Z-O, on SeatGeek to get $20 off your first purchase. That means $20 off any sporting event or really any concerts or things like that around your area. Who wouldn't want to save money? Make sure to use my code so you can save some money. Follow me at Anzo Media on Instagram and Twitter. Subscribe for more content. I come out with Yankees and baseball content. And if you want to binge watch more Yankees or baseball content, well, check these out right here. I have a playlist and a video that's best suited for you. As always, thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys. You were watching Anzo, and I'll see you guys next time.